Welcome back to this new inspirational video. Today I wanted to talk about the concept of the competitive mind versus the creative mind. Have you ever thought to yourself, why is it that some people become so successful and the majority are failing every time they even give it a try to go for their biggest dreams in life? Now you might even consider your own goals in this case. Why is it that some people are so successful at doing similar things that you want to do, while you might be struggling? Who knows, right? I mean, if we're honest, we tend to struggle a lot throughout life, but we want to get an answer to this question so that hopefully we can improve the odds of us also succeeding at whatever we want to do. Now, in order to build upon this concept for this video, I wanted to share with you a few paragraphs from the book The Science of Getting Rich. And it's a really good book. You should actually buy it for yourself and study it for the rest of your life. That's what I would be doing myself. Now in it, in chapter 2, the author, Wallace Wattles, said, "There is a science of getting rich, and it is an exact science. There are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches. Once these laws are learned and obeyed by any man, he will get rich with mathematical certainty." Now in this case he does use the term money a lot and property, but you can mentally change it around and turn it into your own goals. So if you would be like, there is a science of, achieving my dream. And it is an exact science. There are certain laws which govern the process of achieving a dream. Once these laws are learned and obeyed by anyone, they will succeed with mathematical certainty. Now this is a good message for you. This is very important for you to grasp. If you've been feeling hopeless and doubtful about whether you can achieve something, or you just couldn't wrap your head around why you seem to be stuck perhaps achieving a certain goal. Now he went on to say the ownership of money and property, again change it around mentally if it's not about money or property for you, into your own goal. He said it comes as a result of doing things in a certain way. Those who do things in this certain way, whether on purpose or accidentally, get rich. In other words, they will succeed. While those who do not do things in this certain way, no matter how hard they work or how able they are, remain poor, or they keep failing. Now the ability to do things in this certain way is not due solely to the possession of talent. For many people who have great talent remain poor, while others who have very little talent get rich. You see this happen all the time. If we're honest, you see so many people out there who get rich with doing perhaps what we would consider absolutely stupid things. You might consider my content stupid things. But yet, in the past, when I built on a YouTube channel up to 50,000 subscribers, I have seen for myself that it is true that it is not all based on being super talented in order to make money with what you love to do in life. You see, it's not about talent alone. It can help you out, but that's not where we want to block ourselves out from achieving a dream by being like, I don't have the talent. Doesn't really matter. You just need the wisdom, the awareness on how to do something. Now a little further on he said, if getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way, and if like causes always produce like effects, then any man or woman who can do things in that way can become rich. They will succeed. And the whole matter is brought within the domain of an exact science. Well, those were his words. And in order to expand upon that, we're going to work with an image throughout the rest of this video that I'll put up on the screen right now. Now on the left side, because there's a lot of text if you've seen this for the very first time, but I'll explain it to you. On the left side, if you go to the top, the picture, it says competitive mind. On the right side, you see the word creative mind. Underneath it, we have what we call a stick version, which is sort of to represent your body, how your mind is connected to your body, and therefore it is very important to understand the connection between consciousness, subconscious mind, and the physical body in order to succeed. Now what are we talking about when we talk about the competitive mind? Well, what I mean by that is, if you look around you, in most cases, even in my case if I don't watch out, but I've trained myself quite a bit by now, you're under the sort of habit, the compulsion to measure everything that you do based on what your senses are dictating. So the competitive mind essentially sees limitation everywhere. It sees it needs to hurry if it wants to succeed. It seems to think that if I don't go for my dream right now, somebody else might beat me to it. The competitive mind is, as it says, in competition with everything around itself. Now this is how most humans live. In other words, they are living through their senses. As we've put it in the picture on the left side, we see, hear, taste, smell and touch. To the right of that, I put a word circumstances with an arrow that leads down to the word thoughts, down to the word feelings, and then at the bottom it says unable to properly act on their dream due to focusing on circumstances as they are. So in other words, if you're operating from the competitive mind, you're allowing circumstances to control what you're thinking about and how you're going to feel about things in your world. Now this is very important because this is exactly what the difference is between one person who succeeds and the majority of us who might be failing every time we try to do something. Because we're looking at our circumstances and allowing limitations that are currently visible to create doubt inside our minds. So you have to be very, very conscious of whether you're doing this. Whenever you wake up in the morning, are you allowing your circumstances to dictate how you're going to feel today? What you're going to do? You look at the bank account, you're like, I'm not rich right now, so what's the use of going for a wealthy lifestyle? Because I'm not rich. Well, that's because of the competitive mind. You see, there's a different way of living, and this is the way that people who succeed live, either consciously or unconsciously. In order to grasp it, we have to go to the right side of the picture. There, as it said, the creative mind. But what I did was remove those little lines that represent the senses. It doesn't mean that this person doesn't have any sensory factors, obviously, because even I have them, but yet I'm working with the creative mind. What does it mean? It means that you're using your imagination to control your own thinking and feelings. Did you grasp that? Or there's two ways of living. One of them is allowing circumstances to control your thinking, and the other one is allowing your imagination to control your thinking. How are you going to allow your imagination to control your thinking? Well, in order to do this, you're going to have to grasp how creative you actually already are. Now, this is so silly in a way because most people never stop and think about it. They just go through their lives in total reactionary mode to everything around them. But even they are still creative beings. They're using their imagination unconsciously, and we want to do it consciously so we can see the power that we hold in order to drastically change everything around. So a person that lives from the creative mind, even in negative circumstances, even in limiting circumstances, is aware that they have the ability to either close their eyes if they're not trained enough, they might have to close their eyes, and mentally focus on a vision of fulfilled desires. So their minds are no longer controlled by what they're seeing with their physical eyes. Now at first it sounds kind of bizarre, like how can that help me achieve what I want? Well, at the bottom on the right corner we have saying the actions you are physically expressing. Well, the physical body is going to act upon the concepts that you have built within your imagination. Alright, now let's go back to the very start of this video. There's one person who succeeds and the other fails. Now, they both have the same talents and abilities, but for some reason one person succeeds and the other one fails. Why is that? Can't you see, with this picture, can't you see the difference? They might be involved in the exact same thing. You see this happen with YouTube, that's a good example actually. You see this happen on YouTube all the time. I've talked to people over the years who wanted to start their own channel, for example, and then they say, well, I would love to be a YouTuber, so I'm going to start my channel. Okay, so they make a few videos, perhaps not of the best quality at the time because they still had to develop their own style of videos to begin with, but then they give up within maybe a week or a month after only getting 1 or 2 views or maybe 0 views on their uploads, right? What's happening here? The person is looking from the competitive mind towards their own dream. They're using their senses to make themselves feel that what they're doing is not good enough, and so they can never succeed with that attitude. But yet I can sit here, I could sit next to them in the same room working on YouTube, and what do? I look inside my imagination, I see the importance of what I want to share with the world. So I don't really care about the views, I just want to create something good for the world that they can benefit from, in this case. That can inspire them, that can help them think about themselves and their lives in a better way, so that they can themselves succeed more easily. You see, this is the issue. Whenever we set goals, we're so trained to live from the competitive mind due to our education system as well, which keeps us focused, always outside of ourselves. You gotta focus on the books, you gotta focus in classes, you gotta listen to the teacher, you gotta be able to repeat what the teacher taught you, because if not, you're not gonna succeed in school. They're gonna give you failing grades and stuff like that. We have been totally programmed to live through our senses. But yet that is not the way to succeed. anybody that is a billionaire right now, do you think they lived from the competitive mind? They might have a competitive attitude. This is very true. It happens all the time as well. But their competitive mind is still combined with the creative mind. So in other words, they still started to use their imagination in order to build their ways out of their own limitations. And that's what's making them succeed. So again, if we go back to the YouTube example, what should a person do who is failing in that case? They don't see the views, they don't see the growth. Well, they have to keep building and magnifying the vision of fulfilled desires. They have to see themselves successful. So the person who succeeds, the only difference between the person who succeeds and the one who fails is that the person who succeeds believes in themselves enough in order to do what's necessary to make something happen. They don't sit around thinking, oh, I can't do something. They might have doubts at times, but they don't sit around. They don't waste their times like the majority of the population on this planet. They're wasting their time, you see. It sounds harsh, but it's actually true, because if anyone has a dream in their minds, in their hearts, and they're not able to achieve that dream throughout their lifetime, if they're not even giving it a shot, a fair shot, then they're actually wasting their time, because they're letting one of the greatest gifts from the universe go to waste, which would be a fulfilled life if they would just act on their dreams. So a successful person, consciously or unconsciously, somehow, some way, reach the ability to believe in themselves and to trust in themselves as well, so that they could do the work. So they trusted themselves enough that they could succeed, that they were willing to take the actions that were necessary in order to get the result that they wanted. So it might sound a bit complicated here, but the basic is behind it is that if you know what you want, you just have to become so obsessed with it that you no longer allow yourself to be controlled by your circumstances. Once that happens, that's when you start seeing things manifest in your world. They start to show up. They start to be created with and through you. You're the one who's going to create the success that you desire to have in your physical life. But as long as you're operating from the competitive mind, you'll be one of those people that is failing perhaps until the day they die, because they're not looking from the right angle towards their own dreams. You see, you have a way of looking. You can look at your dreams and doubt in it and think, oh, this is impossible for me to achieve. Or you're going to do what the successful people do, which is to simply imagine the dream that they want to realize and execute that dream. They act on the inspiration they receive over time. Now, the more focused you are, the faster the inspiration comes. I know this from experience, and even when making this video, it happened again. I wake up and I just play around in my imagination. Even though I'm sitting behind my computer, I play around inside my mind with video ideas, and then it starts to flow. So I don't really focus on, oh crap, I don't know what to make. I don't know what to do with my channel. Oh no, this happens all the time with smaller YouTubers. Just learn to use your imagination. How will you learn to use it? That's another interesting point. Whenever you write something, I would suggest you test this out for yourself. Just write something fictional. It doesn't have to be a whole book. Just write a little bit of text that is totally fictional, that is not based in reality whatsoever. Once you have written maybe just a paragraph, a tiny paragraph, you have actually executed and exercised your imagination. Now what you want to understand is that you can use that same power to change the results around in your life. You can actually use that power to change the direction of your own entire life itself, so it grows into something greater and better. Another way of reminding you of this power is that whenever you go to sleep at night and when you're dreaming, that's your imagination in action. Sometimes people say, oh, I didn't dream. It was all black for me. I can't remember my dreams, right? It doesn't matter. There are times that you've had dreams. Everyone. At one point in your life, at least you've had a dream. That was your own consciousness showing you that you have the power of imagination that will set you free. Because the power of imagination is the power given to you by God, the universe itself. So we should exercise it and start winning. That's what life's about, to win. We want to win, man. We're gonna win. We're not gonna stop. We're gonna win. And we're gonna do it with this attitude of mind. No doubts, no worries, no setbacks, no failures. The only thing I can see in my mind is that as long as I hold the vision of what I want, I'm gonna grow there. Now I'm going there. I have evidence of it every single day. Sometimes it seems like it's not going there, but then other days, every time I see it growing towards a bigger and bigger direction, I'm like, yes, we are on the road to success. And so it should be for you. Anyways, with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.